Today we are going to be revisiting MXGP, the official motocross video game. It's been about 8 years, give or take, since the game released, and since I got it on sale for pretty much $2 I think it was, so that's basically free. You know what, I thought I'd come back and play the game since I remember having good times on it, so other than that, let's just get right into this review. I'd like to start out this review by talking about all the bad shit things that this game has to offer. The very first thing that everybody remembers if you played it, the bike sounds. Who approved these things? A bunch of fucking retards, that's who. They sound like a fucking vacuum cleaner. It still annoys me to this day. For some reason, they kept these bike sounds for another game. Don't know who greenlighted that. They were definitely smoking a hooker's ass. They were definitely on something because they're fucking horrible. The customization is penis. It's pretty bad. There's not much to choose from. It's not like your newer Supercross MXGP games where you get to have your own custom rider with, 100, 200 gear sets to choose from, helmets, goggles, boots, all that stuff. The only thing you get to choose from in this game is the official teams, which is cool, but it sucks that you can't really customize your rider the way you want to have them. You can change the color of your number fonts, and that will also change the color of your boots and gloves, I believe. And there's a few different fonts for your number. And also, when you level up your character, you unlock helmets, and they're not that impressive. Most of them aren't very good looking, and there's not a lot to choose from, but they do have a Rockstar helmet, so that's actually kind of cool. I'm really surprised the new games don't have the official Monster Energy or Red Bull helmets. There is no bikes to buy in this game. You don't save up credits or anything like that. You just ride the official teams. And again, that is cool, but now looking back on it, that's pretty bland, kind of a lazy, shitty attempt for customization. There's really nothing to it. You can change the picture for your rider or your manager, but at the end of the day, you never see them, so it doesn't really matter. After coming back and playing MXGP 2014, it makes me really appreciate the newer games a lot more, actually, because the customization in, Supercross 5, even looking back at MXGP 3, it is 100 times better than it is in this game. So for all the times I shit on the new motocross games that come out, I definitely have a better mindset towards them, but I'm still gonna shit on, Supercross 5, stuff like that, just because the customization is better in that game than it is in MXGP 2014. Doesn't mean it's the greatest customization, but it's okay. Besides the point though, MXGP 2014 has pretty piss poor customization, and there's not a whole lot you can do with the game besides Grand Prix mode and career. Another very crappy thing about this game, there's no online mode. Well, there is, but the servers are down, so no time trial, no multiplayer lobbies. Even though no one's probably playing this game, it would be fun to come back on here and race with your friends or random ass people that might still be playing it. So it's kind of a shame that I didn't even get to try it, because I don't even think I've ever done a multiplayer race for MXGP 2014, so I can't really say if it was ever good, but it probably wasn't. The AI is very bad in this game. If you remember playing it, then you probably remember how all the AI took one line, they were in a train, and it made it super easy to pass them, and also their lines aren't very good. They're pretty slow. You can play on the hardest difficulty, beat them by 30 seconds in a 5-lap race, even if you're not the best at it. I actually have to try to lose a race. Yes, I am a fucking top G when it comes to playing these motocross games, but the AI still suck cock, and I wish they were a lot better, because the game definitely is not as fun when the AI aren't good. You guys thought I forgot about the whips and scrubs? Nah, man, I don't know what they were thinking. I really don't. It hurts my brain. My brain's very tiny, and my brain is hurting because the whips just, I don't know who approved it. Again, with the bike sounds, they're just ass, okay? They're ass. Look at them. Ass, ass, ass. I will say, maybe on a couple tracks you can get some okay looking scrubs, but everywhere else you don't need to use them. They look horrible. The whips just don't even get, I don't even want to talk about them. You can see with your own eyes, I don't have to say anything. Just shit. Is it the worst in the MXGP Supercross franchise? It might be. I'd have to go through all the games again, but I think this one would be definitely towards the bottom. And after playing Reflex, coming back to this, very, very disappointed with the whips and scrubs, even though I think I used to actually enjoy these ones. I think I've gotten all the negative things out of my ball sack that I want to say about this game, so let's make the video a bit more happy now, shall we? The bike setup, I mean, it's cool that it's in here, but I've tried to mess around with it and it really just does not feel any different when I tweak anything. I can't get it to feel any different. 250s, 450s, all the bikes in the game handle the exact same to me. So actually, you know what? I guess I just thought of another negative. All the bike sounds are the same and all the bikes handle the same, so that kind of is a little frustrating, but it is what it is. But yeah, bike setups, medium, short, long gear ratio, suspension changes, all that stuff. I couldn't notice a difference. In the new games, I kind of can tell when the bike feels different when you tune a certain setting a different way, but in this game, I don't notice it. I just don't. Maybe if I were to put in some fucking heater quick lap times if I tried, then maybe, but other than that, if you're just playing the game, you don't notice it, man. So don't worry about a bike setup. That's always kind of been my motto, especially if you want to go fast. Don't worry about a bike setup. Practice makes perfect, and the bike setup comes later, but the bike setup really doesn't affect the bike in this game. There's not really a whole bunch to say about career mode. It's your standard, go to a Grand Prix, do 2 races, etc, etc. It's basically a championship mode, but however, I will say this is probably the best career mode I can think of off the top of my head from an MXGP or Supercross game, simply because you have fans that send you messages and riders that send you messages. Even though they get kind of repetitive, it makes the game feel a bit more realistic, if that makes sense. And also, right before you load into a race, it shows a little clip of the actual Grand Prix that happened in real life. So just because that features in this game, it makes it feel a bit more realistic or immersive. Career mode, honestly though, it's not really great and it never really has been, but whenever I want to race these games, I just go on career mode and do some rounds because that's just what I do. Now for the important part of the video, physics. I've already talked about the whips and scrubs and how they're not really top G. They're shit, okay? But I think where this game makes up for a lot of its faults, which there are a lot in this game, the physics, the on-ground physics, superb. Something about them, the way the bike hooks up on the ground, it feels really nice. There's a good amount of traction, and there's also a good amount of slipperiness to the bike. It's not slippery like MXGP Pro, and it doesn't have as much traction as MX vs ATV All Out. It's got a really good sweet spot, and I think there is only a few games like this where they got the traction just right. Something about how the rider looks and feels when you're going down a straightaway, it looks so nice and it feels spectacular. Some of the tracks have a good amount of braking bumps in certain corners, and it honestly feels pretty darn good. I do like how when you overjump or case something, the bike kind of stalls and you can't really move for half a second, which makes sense because if you do that in real life, your balls are going to be hurting, your asshole is going to be aching, even though the ground physics are pretty good in this game. Unfortunately, you can't really rail berms because you just kind of go right through them, or you ride up and off the track. So at the same time, the ground physics are good, but there is a couple spots where they lack. It's very hard to go through rollers in this game, and I think they got a good balance for it. Hitting big jumps on the 250s and even some of the 450s is actually really hard, and I think it takes a good amount of skill to actually hit some big lines in this game. Unfortunately, the in-air physics aren't the greatest because when you move left and right, your guy just kinda leans left and right. The bike, you can't put any style on it. It's not like Supercross 3, 4, 5 where you have a little bit of freedom. It's very clunky and narrow, if that makes sense. The bike does feel kind of light and heavy at the same time. It's a good mixture, but again, it would be nice if you could have a bit more freedom in the air. I do like how you can lock up the front brake and wash it out. It quite often looks very realistic, and it doesn't happen all that much, so it's not that much of a pain. It's hard to do tight turns in this game. I find you have to do shift down to first, do a quick tap of the rear brake, and turn with your left stick, because in this game, you actually only turn with the left stick. The right one pretty much just makes you slide out, wash out, whatever. Unfortunately, there is no clutch, so no clutch or throttle control really, no clutch boost. The starts are super easy because you just have to shift or hold the gas. So unfortunately, no clutch, but at the end of the day, I honestly don't mind it too much. First person is okay, it's not the greatest, not the worst, but for its time, definitely one of the best, and I actually still enjoy it. But Milestone has definitely made games with better first persons. It's okay, you can't customize it in any way, but if you like first person, you probably will enjoy it. Overall, the physics are where this game shines, mainly on the ground and not so much in the air. It seems like this was kind of a negative review. I talked a lot of bad and shit about this game. It didn't really seem like I had a lot of good stuff to say, but for some reason, I enjoy playing this game, coming back to it. I would rather play this than Supercross 5 and 4, MXGP 2019, MX Bikes, MX Sim, but that's about where I put it. It's not the greatest game out there, it's not the worst. I put it in sort of mid-pack, mid-tier. It's definitely not going to get a top G rating. It's kind of in the middle of the pack. I still enjoy it, I think it's a good game, and if you find it cheap, I'd say give it a shot or revisit it because it can be fun. Other than that though, I don't think I have anything much else to say if I forgot anything. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, take care.